Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the People Catalyst Show, a talk show that highlights training experts who are people catalysts in their specialized fields. This event is jointly organized by Proactive Trainings, Rambahat, and Back to School Co. The objective of this show is to share with you, the audience, some gems of wisdom to help you overcome the challenging times. Please note that this session will be recorded and will be used on social media to share it with a larger audience. We would encourage all the audience to keep your cameras off and be muted. However, do engage with us in the chat by putting your questions in the chat box. We have Geraldine, our producer today, who will be the chat master, and she will be prompting me with the questions. Now, on the People Catalyst show today, we have Indhran who will be sharing his 20 years experience helping the world's most recognizable brands, including Google, P&G, and Shell, enhance their brand through power of storytelling. So we will discuss tips, learn about the art of storytelling to enhance your personal brand. So today on the People Catalyst show, it's Indhran with What's Your Story? For the benefit of our audience, would you like to share a little bit about your background and the stuff that we were mentioning just now about you working in Google and P&G? It sounds so interesting. So maybe you're going to like to share a little bit about that. Yeah.
Sure. So basically, I was working about 15 years ago. I started working for HSBC Bank, and I guess I was pretty interesting. It was a pretty interesting experience working in the bank, and HSBC sent me to London, to India, and of course business class, all expenses paid, right? So it was a great life, living the expatriate lifestyle, and I did some amazing stuff in HSBC as well, whereby I was doing a digital transformation and a branding project for 33,000 employees, right? And this was rolled out across the world, multiple time zones. It was a very, very big project. And at the end of the project, Interbrand, which is an independent brand authority, they ranked HSBC for the first time ahead of Citibank, right? For our efforts to do that branding job. That's what I thought anyway. So I thought, wow, I am really awesome, and I'm really great. I've done this thing for HSBC and see, we are ahead of Citibank for the first time. We've jumped ahead of Citibank in terms of our brand rankings. And I thought I was as they say in the UK, I thought I was the bee's knees, right? I was really amazing. But little did I know, within 100 days of that, I would find myself broke, jobless, and in a brand strange new country. You're probably wondering, right?
That is the story.
Yeah.
What a story.
Yeah. Here I am. My last posting was in India, and in India, those senior people, they actually get. Sorry, there's a bit of background noise.
No worries.
But anyway, when I was in India, I had all expenses paid, paid accommodation. You had a car. The bank gave you a car, gave you a driver with that car to go around, right? So it was like a very, very comfortable expatriate kind of a job, and then suddenly I find myself broke, jobless, and in a brand new country. Okay, so how did it happen? Well, see, what happened was this was actually the time when I was migrating to Australia. Okay, so I was migrating to Australia, and for most people who go to Australia, right, to go and live in Australia, get a PR, the hardest thing is getting the PR. The hardest thing is getting it, okay? So for me, it was not so hard because when I made the application, my agent told me, okay, we'll put the application in, no problem, right? So we put the application in, and I had a job waiting for me with one of the largest banks in Australia as well, right? So when I was going to the headhunter and the banks, right, they said, look, everything is good. All we need is your work permit or your legal documents, right, to work in the country. When I went to the immigration agents or whatever, they said, no problem, we'll get it for you, okay? So now, So here I've left my job now in Australia in HSBC, and I've gone to Australia now. Okay, of course I got all my documents, my work permit and everything. But when I landed in Australia, this was September in 2000, exactly 2008. Okay, this month. The job that was available for me suddenly evaporated. Why? This is September 2008, global financial crisis. So it had just started to hit Australia. Okay, so that year, that bank actually fired 3,000 employees. Okay, so at that point, I was very confident, very arrogant of my abilities and capabilities. So I said, so what? No problem. I'll just get another job. Here I am. I come from Australia. I come from HSBC, right? One of the renowned brands.
World's number one bank, supposed to be.
Yeah, it was very highly regarded. Very highly regarded as a financial institution. So I said, this is great. Okay. I have a good track record, I have testimonials, I have a track record in HSBC too, so no problem. But that was the day that started my thing, so I started applying and getting rejected for a variety of reasons, right? Some were because of me, some were not because of me. But after 100 plus rejections, I became extremely demotivated. And I became extremely down, and I was sick and tired of being compared with my colleagues who were still working in HSBC. Now, the thing is, I could have left Australia, right? And joined and gone back or whatever. But this is the thing. Here I am in Australia to build a new life, because this is I've migrated here, right? So I've used my savings now to buy a car in Australia, to sort out the house and everything, right? So it's like you cannot make a U-turn kind of thing. So I said, no, I'm going to make it, right? But it just wasn't happening, right? I tried in the banking sector, I tried different sectors, and everything just didn't work, right? So here I am, imagine, right? I am very, very, very low on cash now, because I made some financial decisions that got me broke. On top of that, I had all these credit cards. When you have a big salary, right? The banks want to give you a lot of credit card, okay? So they give you a lot of credit limit. So now all my credit limit is totally maxed out, okay? Wow. And now the banks are calling me, okay? For those of you who are familiar with credit card, right? You can pay the minimum balance, which is 5%, okay? Now, but when you don't have the money to pay minimum balance, that's when it's a problem.
That's the big issue.
I was in that state, okay? I was in that level where I didn't even have enough money for a cup of coffee, let alone pay the minimum balance. And I'm getting all these calls all the time from the banks, okay? Saying, pay up. And so I'm using my, as they say, Tai Chi, because I come from the bank also. So I know the processes, how to fend them off, and stuff like that. But it was a very bad situation, right? So anyway, what I did was I started to do some writing for websites, content writing, okay? Started to do some content writing for websites. This is 2008, okay? And I managed to do for one guy, okay? He had an IT company and I did it for him. And so one day I was in his office, right? And talking about the content writing part, where one of his clients, right? One of his clients was a financial planner, walked into the office. And she said, what do you do? And he said, he does content, So, but he didn't say he does content writing. He just said he does content. So the guy thought that I do content, all kind of content. So he said, do you do videos? So I was stuck, because actually I don't do videos, right? I have a battered old handy cam in my home that I couldn't sell, couldn't liquidate. And I done some tourist videos when I was traveling in the old days, right? But I don't have, I'm not a professional videographer or anything. But the thing is, the thought of me, I said, I just lied to him and I said, yes, I do I do video editing. I do video.
You're basically doing what Richard Branson said, just grab the opportunity first, then figure it out later.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that. I didn't even have time to think, right? It was like a reflex action. I didn't want to lose. Right. I didn't want to lose the opportunity. You're down in the dumps, right? So, so the guy said, "Oh, okay, good. It was a Wednesday afternoon, right? Like today, Wednesday. It was a Wednesday. He said, "Come to my office on Friday, 2 p.m. I'll see you there." And then he left, right? So I thought to myself, "Oh my God, what have I gotten myself into?" Because I don't know how to do any kind of video editing, and he's going to know that I'm a fraud. He's going to know, this imposter syndrome started to kick in, right? And I said, I better call him up and tell him the truth, right? Or I better make an excuse, that I cannot make an excuse that I cannot turn up on Friday for one reason or another, right? So I wanted to do that, but then at the back of my mind, the thoughts of all my financial problems and I really needed the money. I really, really needed the money. Okay, so I said, you know what? I'm going to go on Friday. And I'm going to learn editing in the next 2 days. I'm going to learn video editing, whether it kills me or not. I'm going to learn everything there is to know about video editing. So that's it. I just, started to learn up how to do editing and whatever. Then on Friday, I was really nervous, really nervous going to his office. I had my battered old handycam and a shaky tripod, and I took it to his office, right? And I had no idea what this guy is like. I have zero idea, right, about content or anything. But luckily he had the ideas. He knew what he wanted, right? So he was actually a financial planner, and he was a small financial planner, not a big time guy. He only had two offices, one in the Gold Coast, one in Brisbane. And he said he wanted to do, because it was global financial crisis, right? It's 2008. There were a lot of uncertainty about finance and money and stuff like that. So he wanted to do like a talk show, like an interview session, right? Where he wanted to talk about financial literacy and sort of do that sort of thing. So which is really ahead of its time. Now, this is 2008 we're talking, right? At that time it was 2009 already. It was 2009 and early 2009 at that time. So it's very, very early days, right? So so he knew what he wanted to talk about. All I had to do is just put the video camera in front of him, press record, shut my mouth, and then it's done, right? And then And then I when I got home, I just edited in a very, very simple editing. Nobody who knows how to do. I had a Mac at the time, so there was a program called iMovie, right? Which is inside my Mac, free program. So I just cut it, used the transitions, whatever they had, and I give it to him, praying that it wouldn't be rejected. And turns out he was very okay with it. Okay, this is good. Okay, so upload to the website, right? So that's how my thing started with video. Now, he didn't pay me a lot of money. Okay, he didn't pay me a lot of money, but he didn't pay me a life-changing amount. Okay, but he gave me a life-changing moment, and that life-changing moment came in the form of one of the interviews he did with this guy. Okay, he is a financial planner. So one of the things he talks about is success stories or case studies of insurance, right? So he did a case study of one of the largest insurance companies in Australia, where this guy was getting disability insurance. That means he basically didn't have to work at all, and he got paid full salary for years, right? He got full salary. So the story was, why is this guy getting disability, right? Why is he getting full salary and stuff like that? So it turns out that he is getting disability insurance, getting full salary for his last drawn salary, because he's too depressed to work, right? He's just too depressed to work. And why is this guy too depressed? And the story is a really tragic story, really tragic. So what happened was he has his 14-year-old daughter, okay? And one day, the police called up and said, your daughter is missing. okay, come over. So he lives in Brisbane, and the daughter was in Sydney. Okay, so he had to fly to Sydney, take the first flight, and then go and whatever. So his daughter was killed in an accident, a boating accident, a ferry accident, right under that iconic Sydney Harbour Bridge. Right under there, his daughter was killed. Okay, so having your child taken away from you, especially when they are young, okay. Having a child taken away from you at any age is bad. But when they're young, right? Like the 14-year-old daughter, today she's here, tomorrow she's gone. It's a really tragic thing, okay? It's really, really tragic. But what was even worse was that it was just not a tragedy for his family. It was a tragedy for the entire nation, because she was part of the Olympics team for figure skating. She was a part of the Olympics team, under 16 Olympics team for figure skating, and she was a national champion, right? So it was a big, big, big loss. Okay. Now I recorded the video. Obviously, in all these videos, I didn't do any talking. I'm the guy behind the camera, right? So there's the financial planner and then his client, right? And they are discussing the thing, and I'm doing the video recording. So I go home and I do my editing as usual, and I edit it as best I can, and then it gets uploaded to the website. Okay. Now, as I told you, this guy is a financial planner. He is not a famous financial planner. Okay. If you Google him, he'll be on page 13. Okay. If you Google financial planner, this guy will be on page 13. But a week after that video was uploaded, this guy went to page 1, right? When I Googled.
Went viral.
Yeah.
You only went viral.
He was on page 1 of
wow.
Google, right? And I thought to myself, wow, what could have been, what happened there, right? What could have happened? Surely, 100% knew that it was not because of my fantastic video editing skills. Absolutely not because of that. Okay? So what could it be, right? So I started to look back, and I realized that as I was editing the video, and as this guy was talking, he was using a Japanese storytelling model. A Japanese storytelling method called Kisho Tenketsu. I first heard about Kisho Tenketsu when I was in HSBC. Okay, so I told you I was doing this branding program, 33,000 employees. It was a very, very hectic thing. I was based out of India at that time, doing the branding program for multiple time zones and stuff. Okay, so one day, we are working 18-hour days. Okay, those days they had Blackberries. Blackberry. I remember those days, the Blackberry. I used to get 2 a.m. in the morning. My boss will send me Blackberry messages, and I'm expected to respond. Okay, because everything is time critical. So one day she walks into my office. Now my boss is she's a crazy lady. Okay, in the sense that she's got crazy ideas, but they are great ideas. Okay, crazy good ideas. So one day she walked into my office and she said, we're doing this digital branding, this rollout, right? I think we should create a game for the employees to play. And once the employees play, the more they play the game, the more they will imbibe the values of the bank. And then she just walked away, right? I said, oh my God, this is the worst assignment. I'm already doing 18-hour days, right? And on top of that, now I have to do this extra thing. And of all the people, I'm one of 3 people in the world that does not play video games, right? I'm the last person she should have asked. But anyway, so since the assignment was already on my table, I sat down with the game developers, the vendor, right? External game developer, and started to do the game. And it's during this time that I realized that, Nintendo, I think we're all familiar with the brand Nintendo, right? Those gamers, right. I'm not a gamer, but those gamers, are you familiar with Super Mario, right? Super Mario Brothers and all that. Okay.
Those were the good old games that we had to play.
So you'd be surprised to know that Super Mario Brothers is the top 2 best-selling. The Mario franchise is number 2 best-selling franchise of all time. And it's based on a Japanese storytelling model called Kisho Tenketsu, right? And so when I heard about that and I connected to Kisho Tenketsu to Nintendo, I said, my God, these Japanese guys are super amazing. Because, when I always loved movies, right? I mean, who doesn't? We all love to watch movies and stuff like that. But whenever I go and watch, I don't know, I don't know, James Bond or Star Wars or whatever, Superman, whatever movies that we watch, right? It's only good for the time we're watching the movie, right? We will love to watch that movie and we enjoy watching the movie. But when you step out of the movie theater or you switch off your Netflix and you get onto your Zoom or you start your work meeting, you cannot translate whatever that you learned in that movie. You cannot bring it to the workplace, right? Because for the main part, the European storytelling model or the American Hollywood storytelling model is based on conflict, right? And so you cannot bring the sex scene, you cannot bring the car chase, you cannot bring all that whatever
scenes or anything like that, because
you can't bring it into your workplace, right? But the Japanese model, which Nintendo had used, doesn't rely on any of that. It relies on one thing called the twist, right? So if you've got a twist in a game or whatever, if you can introduce a twist in your workplace, if you can introduce a twist into your conversation, you can hook them, right? And you can really get your message deeply embedded into their brain, right? And there's a lot of research now coming out about how we make sense of the world through stories, right? We make sense of the world through stories. Basically, I'm digressing a little bit. I'll come back to it later if the opportunity arises. You can tell I'm so passionate.
Yeah, of course. Tell me more about the how do you pronounce it? Kishoten Ketsu. Yeah, it sounds so interesting because Geraldine has put down something. It's a story told in 4 parts.
Yes,
it's a Japanese story structure that does not need conflict to tell the story. That's interesting because I've always been used to the movies, and there must be a hero, there must be a protagonist, somebody that will do something to him, and always that's the case. But then it's very different in terms of this type of concept.
Yes, and the beauty about this, right? This Japanese storytelling method. Very briefly, ki, sho, ten, ketsu, right? So ki it means the start, the beginning. Okay. That 10 is the taking up to build up, the build up, right? The build up, and then comes the twist, and then comes the end. Okay, it doesn't make much sense when I say it like this, but when I give you an example or whatever down the road, we can go deeper into it. Then you can see how powerful it is, and it's powerful because it's simple, right? Because it's so simple, it slips through. It slips through your logical brain, and then it goes directly, and it goes straight to the heart. So that is the beauty of the system. But anyway, coming back to my story. So I thought to myself, wow, this guy
get so many hits.
It got, this was the days, right? So when I looked at the Kishoten Ketsu and I said, wow, this is a great model, right? And immediately my cynical mind, right, said, no. It's not because of this Japanese storytelling method. It's nothing to do with that. It's to do because she is a celebrity. So of course it went viral. Nothing to do with your editing or how the story structured. So I said, so I forgot about it, right? And then after that, something told me, hey, you know what? When you're doing your because I was going into content writing and stuff, right? So I started to do video. At that time, there was something called video sales letters, VSL, which was a big thing, right? Basically, you write text for a landing page, okay, with a video inside. So I started doing that, and I put this Kishoten Ketsu or a variation of it into the letter, right? Into the video sales letter for marketing purposes. And the sales of my videos, the sales of my clients' videos exploded, right? So again, I could see that the storytelling method is so effective, but then my cynical mind came back again and said, no, it's not the storytelling method. It's nothing to do with that. It's because the client's product is very good. That's why. And because they were marketing to a warm database, that's why. So I always give excuses, right? And but there came a time when I could not give any more excuses. Yeah, this was when this time I was already back in. I was back in Singapore, And I used to come into Malaysia quite often. And there was a I think it was from Dubai. It's called GEMS Education. They are the largest private education provider in the world. Yeah. So the company is worth $5 billion. So they are very, very good. And the bulk of their business is from international schools, right? So the thing is, they had a business unit in Penang, which they opened. Okay. And it was doing very badly. Compared to all the other successful stories. Okay, so they called me to come in and do my marketing.
Video editing.
Yeah, it wasn't so much.
They didn't do the video, I think.
They asked me to come in. It wasn't. It was more than video editing at this point. The CEO was a French guy, and he called me in to come in as the head of marketing or the marketing lead, right, to give the strategy. But the strategy was really all based on storytelling, based on this, right? And I grew their sales from within 24 months, 10x, 10 times. I grew the sales, and so good that they gave me a testimonial, which is on my LinkedIn page. You will see a testimonial from them, where I grew it to multiple millions of US dollars, 10 times sales, within 24 months. And after that, I said, okay, I'm not gonna do story. I'm not gonna kid myself. This storytelling formula is definitely working. It's proven itself again and again. So that's when I started to apply that, and that's when Google invited me to come to give a talk, and I spoke about the power of storytelling, specifically in this area, right? And that's how it got on more and more and more and more.
That's why now you're quite famous for being the storytelling specialist. That you actually market yourself as that.
Yes, story selling is the
selling.
Just when I tell people storytelling, they're like, wow, they think I'm like somebody
storyteller.
They think like I can be a famous author, or I can be a famous. Actually, I'm not. I cannot teach people how to tell a story, so to speak, right? I don't do training for authors or whatever. That said, people from the media, newspapers, TV stations, they all come for my training anyway, because they think maybe I can help them, but actually I'm not related. It's not so much that. I do more about business results, right? How to tell stories to actually get a business result.
Right. So ladies and gentlemen, those who have just joined us today, we are here with Indhran, and he's telling us stories, basically. What's your story? That's the title of our People Catalyst talk today. We were just talking about a very, very powerful method that he was sharing that actually did have a lot of impact in his life in terms of his work as well. There is a question from the audience which says that, how do you use this method? And for, a small business, for example, then would you be able to give us some tips on that one? Yeah. So how would you apply Kosher Tenketsu for a small business, for example?
Okay, so it depends. That's a great question, and I get this question asked a lot. So it's all very well. It's the same story, right? It's all very well that I go and watch the X-Men or see the Avengers or whatever. But how does this relate to my life? How can this put money into my pocket? Right. So this is the key here. So storytelling, or rather, Kosher Tenketsu is more about the psychology of the individual, right, in getting them to put your message across. So very, very simply, just say, I'll give you an example. Okay, just say your small business is selling some diet products. Okay, so you got a health product. Okay, so how do I use Kosher Tenketsu to sell my product? Okay, I've got a health product. Okay, so remember the formula is this: start with an opening, and then you've got a twist. Okay, and then you've got an outcome. STO, which is I've got a model called the Storyfy model, which I use in my trainings. But the first three letters of story is STO: situation, twist, and outcome. right? So these are, just remember 3 things. That's all you have to remember. So what is the situation now for your client? Okay, so you're selling diet products. So say, for example, now I'm making a pitch to you, right? I'm making a pitch to you. I'm going to talk about the situation now. So I'm going to say, obesity or gaining weight is actually really, really bad for your health. Okay, I'm going to come up with a great opening, right? I'm going to say, did you know that 60% of people above 60 years old who are overweight die within 10 years? Bang, I got a great opening, right? I got a great opening, and I talk about the situation, right? So once you do that, and then what Kisho Tenketsu does is just build. You build. There's a build up. Okay. So what is the build up? Here is when I rub salt into the wound. Okay. So in copywriting, it's called the agitate phase. Okay. So you talk about the problem, and then you agitate. You make it more painful than it should be, just to really rub salt in. So you say, you know what? But getting fit today is really hard. Because COVID-19 is abound, and you can't go to the gyms, right? And you stay at home. There's no exercise. It's very hard to exercise. And on top of that, even if you can get to the gym, right, you got to find parking, and you got to get an effort and cost money and whatever. You try to make it more painful. So by this time, just say the audience, the person who feels they're overweight, who knows it's a problem.
Ready.
Yeah, they are sold. They are like, yes, I know this is a problem. I know. Don't have to tell me anymore. I know I have a problem. And so what's the solution? Tell me what's the solution. So you know what? So by this time you are getting to the solution. So what most people do, right, is they don't do all of this. What they do is they say, hey, I've got this product that can help you lose weight. Listen to me. Right? They don't do that. So anyway, but before I even talk about my diet product, right? My diet product, I'm going to introduce a twist before I talk about the solution. Okay, before I talk. So what is that twist? So the thing is, my product, okay, the solution here is that you don't have to go to the gym to lose weight, right? Because my product is just herbal tablets, which is appetite, makes you feel full. So you just take 2 in the morning and you won't feel full. So you won't feel hungry. Sorry, you won't feel hungry. You'll always feel full. And that means that you don't eat well, and you will lose weight just like that, right? Because so you'll be like, wow, that's even better, right? So the twist, right, which I teach, it's not easy to find, but there's a formula to it. We can go to it later. And then only after that, I talk about my outcome. Oh, here is my diet product. It's a shake. You just add water, take 1 in the morning, and then you will see the pounds melt away. And then finally, I've got a testimonial, which is social proof. Okay, look at these 5 people who took the product, look, this is the video, whatever, right? And they all swear by it, right? So this is my pitch. So I used the Kisho Tenketsu, but my main thing, right, was I didn't make the big mistake of what normal people do, who are very excited about their product. They walk around and find anybody who's willing to listen to them and say, hey, look, I've got this great product. Listen to me. I didn't do that, right? Number 1. Number 2 is I worked hard to find a way to present that had a twist in it. Okay, that is also not easy to do, right? Yeah. It's not easy to do that, but there's a formula to it. And we can, if there's time later, we can go into that. I can cover that. Yeah. So that's
interesting. I think this is it actually shows like the pain and pleasure principle, whereby you give them the pain, in, and the best part is that after you shared with me the concept, I was thinking about like shows like the Avengers or this thing. There's always like conflict, Here there's no conflict. It's just bringing it down, and then you're getting it to a solution at the end of the day. There's no. But then there was this mention was there are 4 parts supposed to be. Yes. But what's the 4th part?
Oh, okay. So the Kisho Tenketsu, right, is a 4-part methodology. It's actually not to sell things. It's just to tell a story. Right?
Story.
It's a four-panel story thing. Okay, so what I do is I have adapted it. Okay, but anyway, if you want to strictly talk about Kishore Tenketsu, part one is introduction, right?
Okay.
Where you talk about the situation. Okay, part two is build up, right? Where you
rub it in.
Yeah, rub it in, right?
Yeah, make it up. Yeah.
Part three is the twist.
Okay.
You can also say it's an aha moment, right? The aha moment. Okay. So okay. I didn't realize that I can lose weight without going to the gym. All this paradigm shift. Okay.
Yes.
And then the last part is the conclusion, which is where I introduce my solution, my product.
So when you apply that to business, it actually makes a lot of sense in terms of, getting the person to really, see their pain point. And then from there, we offer a particular solution to do that as well. Very interesting.
Yeah. I completely agree. And I love the way that you have, you have extrapolated this to the business and the pain and pleasure principle, because it's 100% behavioral psychology right there. You hit it on the nail there.
Correct. So when you actually introduce that, what their pain points are, then eventually, when you have the solution, or as you said, the beauty about it is also the twist. The twist actually gives them that eureka moment, So, hey, I never thought about it. Hey, yes, really, that one. And then that actually changes the whole paradigm of the person. So even if he's defensive, he becomes very, acceptable to your ideas and susceptible.
Yeah.
As you said, it anchors into the subconscious, and then he will walk around with the aha moment in this.
Exactly. And I have to jump in and add one more very critical part, okay, to what you just said. And that is when he or she gets the aha moment, okay, it is not your aha moment, it's her aha moment. This is a huge difference.
Right.
Okay, because I own it now. It's my aha moment. It's not your aha moment that you're labeling and trying to lay it on me. Because when I'm saying, for example, to you, it is very hard to find parking. It's very troublesome to go to the gym. You may be just looking at me blankly, right? But inside your head, you're saying, yeah. And so when I say to you, so I guess the question really is, how can you lose weight without going to the gym, right? And when I ask a question like that, you on the other side, you're thinking, damn it, that's exactly what I want to know. You're really at the edge of your seat now, okay? You're at the edge of your seat trying to answer a question that you have in your head, not a question that I asked. And this is a huge difference, because most people, they're trying to push the agenda to A, B, and C. That my first role was with Time Magazine. I was a salesperson, and that was what I was doing. I was just going from one person. I was full of energy and full of enthusiasm and full of motivation, and I was just going and trying to sell to anyone.
Sell.
And I realized, now thinking back, the more I talked, the less I sold. The more I was the one getting in the way of my success. I was the one who was actually the problem.
The roadblock itself.
I was the roadblock. I was thinking I was pointing at everybody else, but I was the roadblock. I know, now, 30 years later, I can see it. Yeah.
And then coming back to your story of that first guy. So when you did that video, these 4 things happen as well, isn't it? The situation, the twist, and so forth.
Yes. So there was, when I looked at it, I said, my God, this is very similar to the story driven model. There was a twist, and then there was this, and then whatever. So but all those, that was a life-changing moment for me, right? But it took me a long time, I think more than 10 years, where I was denying it. I was saying, no, can't be.
Something else or something.
Yeah. So this is the doubter in me, right? The cynical. Sometimes we are our biggest enemies.
Correct. Usually that's the case.
Yeah, you
Right.
know.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we are still here with Indran. He has just shared with us a very, very powerful tool that we can actually use in terms of our everyday business storytelling. Even you can do it for sales. You can use it for convincing people and so forth, which is quite interesting. If you have any questions, this is the best time for you to ask Indran about his ideas. Pick his brain a little bit, yeah. So you can put it down in the chat, and we'll be able to pick up the questions from there as well. Yeah. Any other areas that you would like to share with us on this? This is a very interesting one. I would love to really go and deep dive into this particular technique alone.
Yeah,
But,
it's really, really wonderful to deep dive.
Simple yet so profound.
Yes.
Yeah.
The thing is the simple ones are the ones that are so profound, and they really work so well because of the simplicity of it, right? So this is a storytelling model the Japanese have used for years and years and years, hundreds and thousands of years. They've been using this model. Not just the Japanese, the Koreans and also the Chinese. In China, they used it as well, right? To write poetry, to write Chinese poetry, right? All follow the same model, right? So it's not an accident. It's not an accident that whatever. And I think you're so right. You can just deep dive into one thing. If you look at, let's talk about life skills, right? So there are certain life skills that is a non-negotiable. Okay, so one if you're running a business, cash flow management, non-negotiable. You cannot run away.
Cannot run away.
You don't have that skill. That's it. Bye bye. Right, to your business. So just like that, when you are a small business owner or you're just an employee, your communication skills, and specifically not just communication because it's such a general word, right? Your ability to influence and persuade. Okay, this is gold. It's absolutely gold at whatever level of your organization that you're at, whether you're just the chairman or you're the doorman, right? From the chairman to the doorman, this skill,
it's a must.
Yes, the ability to get things done through others using your skills of communication, influence, and persuasion. Yeah. So storytelling is the core of it. Why? Because stories are how people make sense of the world, right? So whether you like it or not, whatever you think about a person, whatever you think, your opinion that you have about a political party, or whether you have affinity to a religion, right? You will see it's actually, you've made sense of it through a story in your head. Okay, and that's why the Quran, the Bible, all these great
use the same
they use a lot of parables, they use storytelling, right? Because they know it is the fastest way to get your message across. It's the fastest. There's no faster way because our brains are hardwired for stories.
For stories, yeah. And I think, when we were younger, we used to listen to stories all the time or read storybooks and stuff. But as adults, very rare. We need to now pay to go and listen to stories.
Yes.
We pay the cinema, we pay Netflix to watch a story. So, but it still resounds very much, even as adults, we would still love to hear stories. We just sit down and binge for a couple of hours, just to listen to, hey, what happened to this person? What happened to this person, And I think even, you take, for instance, the news, for example, it's a story. So you like to know, hey, what happened to this part? What was the court case? Or, it is also a story as you go along. So stories are everywhere in actual fact, yeah?
Yes, exactly. And sorry, I just want to say, why do we love stories so much? Is because when you just say, for example, now there's a politician who is in trouble, okay? So, and you want to follow the stories in the news about that politician who is in trouble. So if you are for the politician, then if you support that political party, then you really put yourself in the shoe of that politician, right? And you are invested in that story. Okay, you want to follow because you feel you're part of it and whatever. But if you're in the opposition party, right, you're also following just as well, but you are on the opponent's side. and you're following you're following the other character, the prosecution. You're rooting for the prosecution. Maybe there's a court case or whatever, right? You want them to do this instead, right? So it doesn't matter what kind of stories are being told in the news, but based on your inner story, your internal story, and your makeup and your understanding of the situation, you will get sucked into that story very quickly.
So that's even applicable to politics as well. I was just thinking of some of the older songs, in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. They used to sing the songs, but they had these stories that's there. And then again, situation, there's something happens, there's a twist, and then there's the happy ending. So even in the song, that they actually have the stories in there, and then they became hits. It became really hits, and people remember those songs, and we sing along with them because of that.
It's wonderful that you talk about that, but it's very, very true, because what they did, right, was brilliant, because they took music already is a way to your that bypasses your logical brain. Okay, so music can get to your heart very, very easy because it uses another model. The worst way to convince someone is to use facts. That is the worst. I mean, basically what we're doing at work today and what we're doing in business, right, is actually the worst way.
The worst way.
The most ineffective, right? The one that takes the longest and the most effort. It's really like trying to, touch your nose by
instead of this way lah. This way. Instead of scratching this way.
It's not a direct path at all. Okay, the direct path is music, storytelling, emotions, right? So that is a faster way. So what you're talking about in the with the songs of the 60s, right? Is so amazing. I remember that song. I forget the name now, but.
Tell me the artist, maybe I'll tell you. You can remember.
They have the twist and everything. There's one song, I forget now, but there's this guy, he sings about this beautiful girl and how amazing she is and whatever. And then in the end, she's only 3 years old. Remember that one?
Yeah, that's right.
That's
very nice.
The twist, right? It led you on some path, and then there was a twist at the end. Then there's another one where there was I was waiting for you, but then there was a crash, right? And then the lover died, right? There's another.
Tell Laura I love her.
Tell Laura I love her, right? Okay, that is again. They use the power of storytelling, the power of suspense, the power of leading people on, right? Teasing you on, and they use music. So it's like, wow, you're using two very powerful modalities here to get the message across.
Interesting. There's a couple of comments which says that one artist sang "Shut Up and Dance with Me" based on the true story, and it became a hit. So these are also stories, and I can remember the story that sometimes they even remember the story but forgot the brand. So most of the times, even I had the scenarios that. I meet a participant of mine, maybe many years after I've had the training. I can't even remember the face, but I say, hey, you are the one who told me that story until today. So they remember the story as opposed to even the lesson behind it.
Very, very interesting. Stories stick, as they say, the stories stick in your mind, right? So as they say, facts tell, stories sell.
That's right.
The reason why it does that, right, is because, say, for example, I ask you, what did you have for dinner today, right? For lunch today? Maybe you can answer easily. But when I said, what did you have for lunch 1 year ago this time? You have no idea. But the story of Cinderella that was told to you so many years earlier, you remember it exactly, right? You remember exactly Cinderella, you remember all these fairy tales, and they're useless information in many ways, right? But the reason why it sticks is because it had an emotional impact. It took your brain to a different level, and it touched
it burned into the brain. That's the reason.
It touched a part where facts cannot touch, right? Imagine, right? It's something like you're in a very big organization, and you need to get the CEO's approval, right? So you use your normal channel through your boss, but that is a very old and slow way. But you do know that the that the PA of the CEO, right? He listens to her, and she can pass message to him, and he trusts her. So you said, you know what, I forget about getting it through the normal chain. I'm going to go and meet her, have a heart-to-heart with her, and tell her what the problem is. Let her go and tell the CEO, and immediately the CEO gets the message. So something like that. You can use facts, and you can talk till you become blue in the face. It's not going to work so well as if you use other modes through using the right brain, rather than going through the mind, go to the heart, right? Different ways of getting there gets so much better. And that's why any successful salesperson, any successful CEO, or they consciously or unconsciously are using the power of storytelling. Not power of stories. Power of stories is just
storytelling.
The essence of storytelling, the principles of storytelling.
True. There's a question that says that are there any ways for people to remember the brand? Like, for example, most of the stories will stick in our mind, but is there any way to remember the brand? There was also reference to things like jingles, advertising techniques, and then even there was at one time Pizza Hut was mentioning a jingle with the phone numbers, and we will remember the phone numbers. So is that part of storytelling as well, or is that something else different altogether?
I would say that storytelling is, you can look at it from a very strategic point of view, and you can look at it from a tactical point of view, right? And it applies in many, many ways because it's so flexible and simple. But at the end of the day, I think what this question is about, in my opinion, is more about strategic positioning, how you want to have your brand remembered. So at the end of the day, in the old days, there were so few brands. Say 100 years ago in Malaysia, there were so few brands, right? But today, there are brands everywhere, and there's so much of noise around. So how do people remember your brand? So first of all, how clear is your brand? How rememberable is your brand, right? That's very, very clear. So you need to be sure to be not making the classic mistakes of being forgotten about, easy to forget, right? So how well are you standing out? So and it's a relative question, because there are many, many people, I know many so-called brands, right, on LinkedIn. They are power LinkedIn users. They have got more than 10,000 followers, big number of followers, and they are really heavyweights on LinkedIn, for example. But if you look deeply at them, they cannot monetize it, right? If they want to sell a product, or they want to try to monetize it,
they can't move.
Less than 0.1% of it will buy from them. So that number is a vanity metric. It's just feel good. Hey, I got that.
You're number one with regards number of followers is a lot. Yeah, true.
Yeah, you cannot do anything about it. Why? Because so when you say how to get your brand remembered, the key here is remembered by who, right? If you like for this individual who has got 15,000 followers on LinkedIn, and is doing so much of hard work and doing all the webinars and the this and the that and whatever, but till today, this person has not monetized it. I've not seen any form of monetization, right, on this brand, right, on this person's brand. So which brings me, which is a deep dark secret, which is how many people do you really need to be loyal to your brand, right? It's not a very big
millions. It's not millions, but a certain good number should be enough. In actual fact, you don't actually need to have everybody under the sun.
Yes,
really
exactly.
Know your brand.
So so that the key here is how do you get the people who matter to remember your brand? Right? And at the end of the day, that number, you'd be surprised, maybe
thousands, in the thousands, or even in the hundreds, and they can buy it.
maybe even less. Maybe even less.
Yeah, maybe
Let me
even
give you an
less.
example. Just say you have 100 diehard fans, just 100 only, right? But they are willing to spend, right, 1,000 ringgit over a year, okay, with you, which is not a big amount, right? 1,000 ringgit, 1,000 fans, okay? So 1,000 fans times 1,000 is 1 million, right? 1,000 times 1,000 is 1 million, right?
Yeah.
That's #1 million right there.
Easily.
That's
And
just #1 million right there.
And that's just them. But then just imagine if they are raving fans, they will also be, trying to get other raving fans to come along. And
yeah, some of them are. Yeah, so like I'm saying, right? The idea. I take a very contrarian view to the social media and whatever. You can tell by now I have a very different point of view about that because mine is based on results, right? So even my storytelling is not storytelling, it's story selling, right? Storytelling is for 99.9% of the population, which is stories for entertainment and engagement. Story selling is for the 0.1% that want to actually monetize the story and get results, business results from it. Right? So everything I'm geared to is around the monetization, the actual results of what we are doing.
Right. Oh, that's a very interesting hour that we have actually gone and learned so much as well. So as we are closing the session, we would like to just get your last thoughts regards to some of the things that you are actually doing, and then also to share with the audience, what are the areas that you specialize in, and how we can actually get in touch as well. And then at the same time, before we close up, just share with us some of your words of wisdom. If there's any extra words of wisdom, you've already given us a lot of wisdom today. Yeah. So go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Sure. Well, it's very simple. I only do one thing, which is story selling. And story selling helps in a variety of ways. One is to improve your sales. If you are trying to actually get cash in the door. The other one is to build your brand under brand storytelling, which is building your brand and communicating basically how to build your brand. And these are the main two ways. Because at any point of time, we're either selling a product, a service, or an idea. If you're working as an employee, you are doing change management. You're actually selling an idea of change, right? So these are the only two things I do. It's story selling to help sell a product, service, or idea.
So before we close off the session for today, would you like to give us your words of wisdom? That's the best part.
4 words.
4 words, yeah.
Facts tell, stories sell.
Sell, yeah. Okay. So thanks again, Indhran, for popping by to see us today. It's been a joy to have you on the show and to have that chit chat with you, and also to shift our brain a little bit in regards to what stories are. So rather than just being the 99%, let's go into that 1% and come up with something.
You're going to be the 0.1%. It's so rare.
The 0.1%. That's there, yeah.